Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Surprise, we have a bonus video this week. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you might know what this is already. I guess you would know by the title as well. I got the new Jaclyn Hill Holiday Highlighter Collection in the mail today. So I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to see me do a video on this, considering it launches tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Let me see where the Instagram poll is at. The majority of you guys said yes. So yeah, it's about 80-20, so 80% of you guys said you wanted to see this. Let me try to hold this up for you. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful this is. I'm honestly really excited for Jaclyn, and I'm excited about this collection. I have a fun story to tell you guys as far as like how this PR package got sent to me, which I'll get into as we move into the video. So in the PR package, there's this note right here, and it says, "Life has its challenges, but those are the times you learn the most. And even in my darkest moments, I've learned to find the light. Here's to brighter days ahead." I think that's so cute, and she looks amazing in this photo. Let me show you guys the inside of the package. Look how pretty. There are so many things to try out today, so if you didn't notice already, I've already got my foundation, concealer, and powder on, and I'm going to be trying out as many of these as possible. So in this holiday collection, we have 3 different formulas. First of all, I'm going to show you guys the 2 palettes. I feel like I'm the most excited about this, just based off of seeing everything and seeing swatches online. So these are the Accent Light palettes. There are 2 different palettes, each have 4 shades in them. This is for light to medium skin tones, and this is the Flash palette. I'm super excited about these. I loved baked formulas when it comes to highlighters. And then the deeper palette is called the Flare. The packaging is nice on this. I really love it, like a lot. And here's what that one looks like on the inside. That one seems to be focusing a little bit. Okay, I'll hold this one here too so you guys can see that one a little better. I really do like how she came out with so many different shades so that there's a highlighter in every formula that will work for every skin tone. Okay, the next formula that I'm super excited about, I have to pull up the name. This is called the Mood Light Highlighter, and she made this formula in 5 shades. Here's 3 of the 5. I really do like the packaging on this as well. Here are the other 2. I'm going to do some quick swatches in just a minute, but I just kind of wanted to give you an overview first so you can see what we're kind of getting into. This one is supposed to be, from what I've seen online, it's supposed to be more of like the subtle highlighter out of the 3 formulas. And then the most intense highlighter formula out of all 3 are these right here. And these are called the Beaming Light Highlighters. And there are 5 shades in this as well. Here's the packaging of the Beaming Highlighters in all 5 shades. So let's go ahead and get swatching. I'm going to show you arm swatches, and then we're going to try these on my face. So I thought it would be good to start with the most subtle highlighter formula, which is going to be these right here. Again, these are called the Mood Light Highlighters. Let me just open these up really quick. Okay, before I swatch these or put them on my face, I'm gonna tell you guys right now how exactly I even received this in PR. I was recently in LA at the American Influencer Awards, and before we went into the room, we were being like held in one big kind of green room, I guess you could call it. And right at the end, we were all getting loaded into the auditorium for the show to start, and I saw Jaclyn, and you guys, I've been watching Jaclyn for years. Like before I ever started my YouTube channel, she was one of the people that inspired me to start my YouTube channel. I bought so many of her recommendations. So we were walking up the ramp to like go into the auditorium, and the room was pretty empty, but she was kind of staying behind. And my husband turned to me and he was like, "Do you want to meet Jaclyn? Because now is your last chance, basically, before we go into the room. This is your shot." So I was walking up the ramp, and I turned around and I went down and I said hi to her, and I was able to just tell her how she's inspired me and how much I love her, because I really do. Anyways, we got to talk for a few minutes, and it was really special to me. I honestly was just expecting to say hi, and that would have been enough for me. What I was not expecting was her to be so kind back to where she said that she wanted to send me this PR box. So that's kind of how it happened. I got to talk to her and meet her, and she was so sweet, and I'm so grateful for her and her team for sending me this. With that being said, you guys, as always, no matter what on my channel, I am always 1000% honest with you guys. So I wanted to tell you that before getting into the swatches, so that you guys know that even though it was a really fun and surreal moment to meet her and for her to be so kind to me and want to send me these, at the end of the day, I just review makeup here on my channel, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you my most honest opinion. All right, that was enough blabbing. Let's go ahead and try out the Mood Light highlighters. I'm gonna get a little bit of each into the cap. Okay, so I'm gonna take these on my finger, and I'm gonna swatch them on my arm. Okay, so right here we have the first powder, which is in the shade Do Me. So it's definitely very, very subtle. I'm someone who personally really likes more subtle highlighters, so I feel like I'm gonna get actually a lot of use out of these. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the second shade right here. I'm so pale. These are just blending right into my skin. But hopefully you can see the second shade right here. It has a little bit more of a pink undertone, and it's called Brighten Up. That's the perfect name for it. I personally like to reach for pinky powders when I want a more brightened look. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the third shade on my arm. I'm just trying to build them up enough to where you can see them swatched. Obviously, I'm gonna go ahead and put these on my face in just a second. Oh, wasn't that lovely? We love when we are out of focus. So here's the third shade that I swatched. It's a little bit more of a golden undertone, and this is called Carrots. And then we have two more. This next one is called Brilliant, which I'm gonna swatch right here. This one does have a little bit of a deeper undertone, so it probably would not work on my skin tone as a powder, but this is called Brilliant. Did I already say that? And then I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the deepest shade. Ooh, this is pretty, which is the one that you can really see on my arm. The other ones are a little more subtle because of my skin tone, but this last shade is called Feelin' It, and it's just a beautiful bronze. So now that I've swatched those, I definitely feel like I could wear either of the two top lightest shades. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. We're gonna do like swatches of each, and then after I swatch, I'm going to apply it so that we can have it fresh in our minds, you know? So I'm gonna take a little bit of Brighten Up, which is the second shade. It's the more like pinky peach one. And I'm gonna take the Jaclyn JH01 brush. I'm just gonna swirl that in the cap. And I'm hoping that this is not too dark for me. Okay, we're gonna go in with it. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of buff this all over the cheeks, like all over the cheeks. Ooh. Okay, if you guys are not familiar with my preference when it comes to highlighters, I like highlighters that are gonna be a little bit more subtle, honestly. So this is totally my speed, actually. I know so many people love a good blinding highlighter, but for me, for every day, this is more of what I reach for personally. Okay, I like want to put this all over my face. Is that dumb? I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take a little bit more of the Brighten Up shade, and I'm actually gonna take it on a large fluffy powder brush, and I'm just gonna kind of lightly dust this all over my face. Kind of like a finishing powder. Okay, that is so pretty. I feel like the shade is pretty close to my skin tone, so it's really just allowing my skin to look kind of lit from within. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera. It's very glowy everywhere, and it looks so pretty on the high points. Honestly, if it was just like an everyday situation for me, I would be more than happy leaving the house like this, obviously with like mascara on. But off of my first impressions, I really do like that. Let me get a closer look. So it definitely just kind of gives the skin a little bit of a radiance. There's no sparkle to it. I really, really like that. Okay, I'm gonna take a tiny bit of the lightest shade called Do Me. I'm gonna just take it on the same brush, and I'm gonna apply this on just the high points of the face, so right over the cheeks. And I'm gonna cover a larger surface area with this, so kind of all the way down the center of the face, even the center of the forehead, just to kind of give the skin a nice all over glow. Oh my. Okay, I really like this formula a lot. Like, it literally doesn't look like a highlighter, which is what I personally go for, especially on an everyday basis. Wow, okay, so that is what the complexion looks like with the Mood Light highlighter. I'm gonna move up closer so you can see what that's doing for my skin. I honestly love it, and I almost feel like it'd be kind of pretty to take this on the body as well. So I'm gonna take a bit of the shade Brighten Up. I really like Brighten Up shade. And I'm just gonna brighten up the neck and chest area, which you can't really see too well because I'm so close to the camera. The further I move back, the more you can kind of see what that does to the skin. I'm really happy about that. I would just leave it as is, but of course we're gonna try the other two formulas. So next I'm gonna go ahead and try the next intense highlighter, which is the palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the Flash palette since I am very fair. And we're gonna go ahead and try, I might mix a couple of the shades. Before I move any further, these are $32. You get a ton of product in here, so I do feel like that's a really good price for what you get. All right, let's go ahead and try out this palette right here. Again, this is the Accent Light Highlighter Palette. These retail for $49, which is not the cheapest, obviously, but the packaging feels luxe, so we'll see if it's worth the price. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this shade right here called Gleam. And I'm using the J02 brush. It is kind of dusty in the pan. This is a baked formula though, so I was kind of expecting that. Okay, I'm like nervous. Ugh. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start to apply this. Oh my, it's blinding. Okay, oh my gosh, okay. I'm just gonna do it though. I'm just gonna go ahead and layer this up. Okay, that is definitely a more intense highlighter, but it doesn't look chalky. It just kind of melts into the skin. Wow, ooh, that's really nice. Since we tried Gleam on this cheek, I'm gonna go ahead and try Iced. And I don't know if this is gonna be too deep for me. It might, but I'm just gonna try it out on the skin. Oh, you know what? I just realized I didn't swatch it on my arm. Okay, so Iced is definitely way more intense. You do not need that much at all. I'm definitely needing to blend this into the skin because for me personally, like as much as I love a good glowy highlighter, I don't always love too glowy. To me, there's a point where you can get too glowy, but that's just my personal preference. I swatched them really quickly so that you guys could see. I just did one wipe. This is Mesmerized. Then we have Iced. We have Gleam, which is what I put on one of my cheeks. And then we have Sparked, which is a little bit more of a golden shade. I'm going to swatch the deeper palette while we're at it. Look how pretty these are. I love this. Here's the deep palette right next to it. We have Glow Up, Made You Look, Exposure, and then Turned On. So there's all 8 shades, just for reference. Sorry guys, I'm kind of like all over the place, I feel. Okay, so I definitely feel like I like this one better than this one. Obviously, the cool thing about this is you can mix and match. I'm gonna take a little bit of Sparks, which is like that golden shade, and I'm gonna use this down the center of the face. Okay, I am feeling very glowy now. And we still haven't tried the most intense version of these highlighters. So as far as the palettes go based off my first impression, I do feel like they're so pretty. I like how there's 2 palette options. I like that I'll be able to mix and match the shades in here, but it is something that you have to be more light-handed with, in my opinion, if you want a little bit more of like that lit from within kind of a glow. I will say I really love how it's melted into the skin. So when I turn my face, you can't really see like a stark line, which is something that I also dislike when it comes to highlighters. So I'm really, really happy about that. I don't know what it is about this shade right here, but it seems to be emphasizing a little bit of texture on me. So Iced is probably not my favorite on its own out of this palette. I feel like even Mesmerized might be a little bit too deep for me right now. So right now I'm really loving these 2 shades out of the palette for me personally. But this palette is meant to kind of go from fair skin tones into the medium range. So I do like how there are some deeper shade options in there. And then of course, this palette right here is so beautiful for more medium to deep skin tones. I accidentally dug my nail in that, dang it. I actually think I'm gonna try this on the eyes as eyeshadow in just a second. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna be trying out the Beaming Light Highlighters. These retail for $24 and there are 5 shades. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these first on my arm. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, these are definitely beaming. So that first shade is called Extra. I'm trying to swatch these from lightest to dark, but I'm not really sure if I'm gonna get it right. The second shade is called Bomb. Ooh, that's like a really pretty golden shade. Hopefully that's showing up for you guys. Next, I'm gonna swatch the shade Amped, which is a really pretty, ooh, almost duochrome. It has a bit of pink in there, but it also has a gold shift. This one's blending into my skin tone on camera, it seems like. Okay, next up we have the shade High Volt, which is a really beautiful rose. Ooh, I like that one. It's too deep for my skin tone as a highlighter, but it's really pretty. And then the deepest shade is Megawatt, which is like a really pretty bronze. Ooh, that would be really pretty as an eyeshadow on me, actually. I might try that out. So there they are. There's all of the beaming highlighters in all 5 shades. So let's give these a go on the skin. I'm a little bit nervous because I already feel like I am glowing to outer space, you know? I'm gonna take the brush that was meant to be used with these. This is the Jaclyn J03 brush. I'm gonna start off using the second lightest shade. This is called Bomb, and I'm gonna layer it right, oh my, oh, whoops. Oh my, I just made a stripe on my face. I am not very good at these beaming highlighters, am I? So that's the more golden one. Okay, this is definitely blinding, beaming, super glowy. I'm just adding some underneath the brow bone. So it's right here. It's a little bit more of that golden tone. Okay, and then I'm gonna take the lightest shade, which this intimidates me the most because it's gonna be very visible on my skin tone. But I do like how she made such a bright one for fair skin. This is called Extra, and we're gonna be really extra on this side of the face. So I'm just gonna, oh wow, that is definitely blinding. I'm just taking my finger, oh goodness gracious, what am I doing here? I'm trying to just take my finger and blend that out so that there's no harsh lines. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of that and pop it underneath the brow bone so that we can kind of compare the 2 shades on my skin. Oh wow, yeah, you can definitely see that. I'm gonna take the brush that we used with the Mood Light powders. I didn't add any more highlighter to this brush, but I'm just kind of trying to blend everything together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do an eye look using the Flare Accent Light powder, so the deeper one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna apply blush and then a lip color, and I'll be right back to tell you guys what my final thoughts are based off of my first impressions. Okay, so here's my makeup after doing the eyeshadow with the deeper palette and then also putting on mascara and then lipstick. I am gonna use a setting spray just because I wanna see how it would look if I were to finish my makeup the way I normally do. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little bit of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Setting Spray. Then I'm gonna take my handy fan, and as it dries, I'm gonna go ahead and just take my sponge to press all the powder into the skin. Wow, my skin looks really nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and set the brows. Okay, so here's the final makeup look. I'm gonna turn so you guys can see how the face glows on camera in front of the lights. Let's get into my final thoughts based off of my first impressions, you guys. So obviously, as I continue to use these, I will let you guys know how my opinions change or if they change at all. So let's start with the Mood Light powders. Or highlighters, I guess I should say. So based off my first impressions, you guys, I'm gonna have to say that these are what I am the most excited about. I'm the most excited about these two shades, Dew Me and Brighten Up. If I had to choose one, I feel like I would choose Brighten Up because it just kind of melts into my skin and it makes it look like my skin is just glowing from within, which is something that I personally look for when it comes to any sort of glowy products. I feel like I'm gonna get the most use out of this formula, and here's why. I personally love to wear finishing powders, so after I set my entire face, which I usually do since I do have acne scarring and things like that, I feel like sometimes using a translucent setting powder can kind of mattify things a little too much. So I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this powder as an all over face powder, just using a light hand. And then I really liked how I could build it up on the areas where I wanted a little bit more glow and it didn't look like I was wearing a highlighter. I love that kind of a look when it comes to highlighters, especially during the daytime, especially for every day. So I'm the most excited about this formula, which I'm shocked about. I thought I would be more excited about like the palettes or the more blinding ones, but I have to say I'm the most excited about this formula right here. And I feel like there's so much powder in here that it's gonna last me a very long time. So I do feel like the price is right on this as well. Let's move on to the palettes. I really liked the palettes. Obviously, since there are 4 shades in here, it's easy for me to mix and match, but with that being said, I'm not able to wear each shade on their own. So that is something that, you know, can be a con in some ways, but I do like how she at least did 2 separate palettes because at least you can pick the palette for your general skin tone and you'll be able to wear the majority of the shades all year round. I'm sure I'd be able to use these 2 a little bit more in the summertime when I have a self tanner on, but for me, I definitely would be using these 2 most often. I really did like this formula. I really like the packaging on here. This is definitely more of an intense highlighter. I feel like I used a little bit of a heavy hand with it, to be honest. You don't need that much at all and you're gonna be glowing. So I am still excited about the palette, but I'm more excited about the powders as far as the effect that I like to get from a highlighter. With that being said, it looks beautiful on the skin. So it is a beautiful highlighter. I personally reach for baked formulas when it comes to highlighters anyway. So I do think I'll get use out of this palette. And I do feel like if you guys like a little bit more of an intense highlighter and if you like face palettes like this, it is convenient to travel with and things like that. Or if you're a makeup artist, this would be an amazing thing to pick up. I will say it's a really good formula. I'm just throwing in my personal opinion as far as, you know, how blinding I like my highlight. I like to keep it a little bit more toned down in certain ways. So this is definitely a little bit more of an amped up version, but I do feel like I'll get a lot of use out of this. But last but not least, we have the Beaming highlighters. These are definitely very, very glowy powders. These are definitely, in my personal opinion, my least favorite. I think they're all beautiful, but I just don't know if I'll get the most use out of this. I did pop the lightest shade in the inner corner and I felt like that gave a nice glow, but for me personally, I like something a little more subtle because when I go too heavy-handed in a product similar to that or something that's too bright, it tends to emphasize my texture. I'm somebody who has a lot of texture in this area here, so I don't know if I'll get the most use out of these. With that being said, again, this is just my personal opinion. I do feel like if you're someone who wants that that extreme, intense, beaming highlight. If you can't find a highlighter bright enough, you are gonna love this formula. Let's talk about the brushes. So the JO3 brush retails for $20. The JO2 brush is also $20, and then the JO1 brush is $24. So definitely higher on the price spectrum for a brush. Jaclyn was saying something about the bristles on these, that they mimic natural hairs, but they're actually synthetic. They actually do feel very, very nice. So the quality is there. I don't know if these are like necessary to pair with the highlighters. I will say I did like the shape of this brush for the powders because I felt like it was able to cover the perfect amount of surface area around the cheek and then around here as well. But I'm probably also going to use this powder all over the face, in which case I'll use a fluffier brush. So it just depends on you. I will say that this was my favorite brush out of the three, but I don't know if they're extremely necessary. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus video. Let me know in the comments down below what you feel about these products and if you're going to pick any up. Again, I'm seriously so excited about this formula right here, which is not what I was expecting. But I'm actually leaving town again for Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna be definitely packing these, and I'm definitely gonna take this palette with me. So thanks again to Jaclyn for sending me all these products, and I'm so proud of Jaclyn for this brand and for what she's doing. Even through a tough first launch, I really do feel like she's redeemed herself with this collection, and I'm excited about it. So I hope you guys are too. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. If you guys have any questions, I will try to list out as much info down below in the description box, or feel free to leave a comment and I'll be happy to get back to you. I will try to respond to as many as I can. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!